Hello, I'm Donald Leggett, and welcome to the latest London South East CEO interview. Today, I'm joined again by John Wood, CEO of AIM-listed Harland Wolff. As you probably know, the UK government has just awarded a £1.6 billion contract to build 3 support ships for the Royal Navy to a consortium which includes Navantia, the Spanish government-owned shipbuilder, Harland Wolff, and naval architects BMT. And John joins me now to discuss what this means for Harland Wolff and UK shipbuilding more broadly. Greetings, John, and congratulations.
Thanks, Donald. It only feels like a fortnight ago I was with you, but a lot's changed in that time.
I was going to say a lot can happen in a fortnight, and so it has.
No, it has. And look, this is historic time for UK shipbuilding. I mean, I was down in Appledore yesterday with the Secretary of State for Defence who made the announcement. And, you know, the contract means an amazing amount for Harland Wolff. It gives us a 10-year backlog of work between now. The first ship gets started getting construction end of 2024 with the final ship 2032. And, you know, it's just transformational for the business.
So let me start by asking you what should be the easy question. It's a £1.6 billion contract for the Royal Navy. Tell us all about it.
Well, look, I think 1.6 billion plus inflation, let's not forget, which is a significant number in itself. You know, these ships will be built, the majority of the blocks will be built in the UK, a split between Belfast and Appledore. You know, what that means in terms of jobs, 2,000 jobs, and 900 in Belfast, around 300 in Appledore, with 800 subcontractor opportunities. 77 million investment in the facilities here. And, you know, the ships get built, put together, commissioned, tested, test and trial. And, you know, it's just a rejuvenation and bringing shipbuilding back to Belfast. And I think that whole shipbuilding piece, the skill set, building up the skills, and, you know, we'll leave a legacy here in Belfast for generations to come.
So what does it feel like to be part of the winning Team Resolute?
Oh, look, Donald, it's phenomenal. And I think it's not just about being phenomenal for me. I think if you look back with all the workforce that was sat outside the shipyard gates when we acquired the yard back in 2019, just under 3 years ago. I mean, we came in a ferry overnight and we're there when they came in this morning to work with donuts and a cup of tea for them. And, you know, just the sheer excitement and the sheer passion that this announcement's made for them. It's what they've dreamed of. It's what they've believed in. And you know what? They know they can deliver. And I think it's the fundamental change in the market now, you know, the whole leveling up of the market. It's not just about a couple of companies. It allows others to get involved in the game. And I think, you know, we're bright enough to understand that we don't know everything. And I think the beauty of the relationship with Navantia is we can rely on their ability to build ships on time and on budget. There's a technology transfer piece involved in this. And don't forget, I've worked with them before on other projects. So I think, look, there's a hell of a lot we'll gain from this. And I think it's, you know, takes a risk, puts a risk in a sensible bucket so that we're not overexposed and we're relying on the Navantia experience. So, look, I think the solution's great. I think BMT, world-class design outfit here in the UK, unlike other defence programmes who use foreign designs, we've used 100% UK design. And that makes it a whole load simpler for the supply chain and keeping that UK supply chain embedded in with the project and the programme too. So I think, look, for us, it's a win-win. You know, it's been a long tender process and a long time sitting on tender hoops waiting for the decision. But when it came through, it was certainly fantastic. And, you know, the workforce have really worked hard, dry docking, you know, over 120 vessels, you know, over the last 3 years. We've had the Queen Victoria in, as you know, we've had the Corrie barges, and I think everything's been building up to this monumental moment. But, you know, this is only the beginning. I think we've got a 5 markets, 6 sectors, and there's a lot more to come from here, you know.
So what happens with this particular contract next, John? When do the contracts actually, for the supply ships, when do they get signed? When does the work start? Where will the bulk? Well, you've told me it's a blend of Belfast and Appledore. It's just terrifically exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, look, we'll also get metal and harnish into the equation here too. I think whilst the The blocks will be built in the two shipbuilding yards. There's also miles and miles of pipework to be fabricated and supplementary components. So we'll sort of get methyl and varnish into that mix also. So I think from where we go from here, the next thing is by Q1 2023, the contracts will be signed. Look, a lot of that work has been done in advance as part of the tender process. Draft contracts are submitted with that. So we go through and tidy up a few of the loose ends and that, get the contracts in place. Then we've got a recapitalisation plan also by the end of the year. There'll be a planning application that goes in for the CapEx upgrades. We move from there. The next year is really spent on building skills in the yards with existing programs we've got. And again, it's really exciting to get the welding academies and the welding schools up and running because they're part of the proposal. And we hope to get that done early part of the year, really ramp the apprenticeship scheme, cross-training, bringing people from other industries in and things like that. So again, now we've got the longevity in contracts, we'll also have that draw to get people who are working away from Belfast that have left because there's been no work back to Belfast. We'll get people from overseas coming back. So I think that's all the skills piece. And then it's really getting on with that capital upgrade program. Next year, by the following year, we'll be starting to make test pieces, test jigs, and then with the first blocks beginning to start getting put together back end of 24 into early 25.
So when you were with the Defence Secretary yesterday in Appledore, he said this is all about encouraging technology transfer and key skills from a world-renowned shipbuilder, crucial in the modernisation of British shipyards. Presumably that's a sentiment that you absolutely agree with.
Absolutely, and what he's telling you there, Donald, I think by his words, is that we're not doing enough in the UK, and I think we're sitting back just expecting work to be given to us by the government, and that's not the way Harland and Wolff have approached this with the 5 markets. We're not relying on government work. We're looking to win our own work, but to do that, we need to be the best in class. We need to deliver on time. We need to deliver on budget, and we need to go out and find our own work by using the skills that are going to be transferred and the technology that's going to be transferred from Navantia to really capitalise on that 500-600 million year potential export market to really grow the business. I think, we're the poor cousins at the moment with the facilities that we've got by the lack of investment through the whole UK. But now with this investment in the shipyards, with our commitment and our drive, we can really drive this on to the next level. So I think it's, this is what the catalyst is. And I think it's all about skills. It's all about building the people, building the team, but it's a different quality and type of people you need. It's not all about just the welders now. It's about the guys that operate the computers, guys that operate the robots to make sure you get that uptick in productivity. The robots that we're using in Belfast here, they're giving us a 6 times improvement in efficiency on the Corrie barge, for example.
So it's all about upskilling. And now, is that for the £77 million? The consortium has pledged to put £77 million into Harland Wolff.
Absolutely.
And is that the type of thing that money is going to get spent on, upskilling?
Absolutely. Look, I think it's upskilling. I think it's a new blast and paint hall. It's new fabrication, extension to the fabrication halls. It's more robotic, automated machinery to get that volume of fabrication through and get the man hours per ton down. But a good portion of it as well is sending people from here across to Spain to learn new skills, learn the production system and the flow, and bring them back into the UK. So they're not just using it on fleet solid support. We're then training a trainer who will then roll out through the business. So it's really, we want to capitalise on this opportunity we've got now to get the maximum benefit from the guys that are, quite frankly, leaders in the world. They're leaders in renewables. So we've already got conversations going on with Navantia about substantial renewable projects and partnering where their facilities aren't big enough for some of the projects, where we've got an opportunity to join forces and do something in that field. So this relationship with Navantia is actually far bigger than just shipbuilding in general,
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. I was going to ask you about that, but you've answered that well. You hope to do more things broader, on a broader brush base with Navantia in the future.
Absolutely. And look, I think there's also conversations of, Navantia have got a large shipbuilding program going on themselves, and there's potential bringing blocks from Spain into the UK, and then then we export them back out to Navantia for consolidation. So this won't all be a one-way traffic of, work going to Spain. We'll be looking to get work in from Spain as well. So look, I think it's a great opportunity, and I think, to walk around and see the workforce as they came in this morning with their cup of tea and their donut, there were certainly happy faces walking around the place. And look, I think it's credit to them that have worked so hard over the past while. And, even our investor and our shareholders, they've gone through a long journey, and look, COVID probably added a year to our journey to get where we are today. But look, we've been well supported through the tough times as well as times like today,
Which takes us very neatly to this next question. How does the contract win and that 77 million investment, how does it affect your ability to win more work for Harland Wolff?
Well, look, I think that's where the exciting times are. I think by getting it, we've now been selected by a government that obviously certainly does more due diligence and more work behind the scenes than most. And I think it's that credibility that does come if a government supporting you to do one of their major procurement processes. It brings a lot of credibility to the brand, and it gives us that ability to really push on. And I think getting to that 500 million turnover that we speak about, that is our key aim. But I think, pushing on past that with the facilities, the enhanced facilities we've got is a real possibility. But look, let's not run before we can walk. I think we need to look and, concentrate on where we are, continuing to build the business. But I think, look, it's certainly a catalyst for moving forward. And I think, there's all to play for across all the markets, because as we spoke about the last time, there's nothing dull and boring in our industry at the moment. All the markets are alive, everything's kicking in. And I think, look, everything to play for. And I think, look, the shareholders that have stuck by us, we think it will be a great journey to carry on being on with us, And look, I think, there's a bit of thanks to go out to everybody that has stuck with us. It's been a long road, Donald,
Indeed. Now, a week or so, you were lining up a major refinancing package of around 70 million and plus for Harland Wolff with a new provider of funds. And the question here is, what sort of financing do you need to take on all this work? And will this contract make refinancing negotiations that much easier?
Well, look, I think we always thought we were very close to this. Obviously, we didn't know until it got announced yesterday. We thought we were very close. Part of the new financing deal was, as we get closer and we get more established, we're getting finance on better economic terms than we did before. So I think it makes sense to refinance at that stage. And I think it's really getting to, an organisation that's got the ability to grow at the speed that we will need to grow at. So I think the refinancing deal, whilst the first stage of that deal is the bit we've made public, clearly we've had a lot of further conversations behind the scenes in relation to FSS, other new building programmes, renewable programmes, and all contracts that we're in close reach of, to say, hey, here's where we may need to get to. And it's really getting somebody at a sensible rate that looks at that larger scale picture and wants to go on that journey. And look, I think it's certainly an interesting journey in the last 3 years. I think the next 3 years will be every bit as interesting,
The market certainly reacted positively. Shares were up 80% yesterday. You were the most traded share on AIM, I believe, and certainly the highest riser. And you rose again today. So with a market cap, as we speak, of around 42 million when we're doing this. So, gotta say, that's happy days.
To be fair, Donald, as I've said to you many times, I don't look at the share price. I said I'd look at it after probably about 4 years. And look, that's really pleasing to hear that we have done that. I think yesterday was a day, 2 hours with the minister and his team. Then it was pretty much back-to-back interviews all day. Then a drive from Appledore to Liverpool to get a ferry across to Belfast for this morning. So I didn't get a chance to look at it. But look, that's fantastic news for the shareholders.
Well, I saw you in the FT yesterday, and I thought you came across very well, John.
No, thank you.
So, what does building ships for the UK Navy over several years mean for Harland Wolff as a business and for UK shipbuilding as a whole? We've touched upon this, but you pulled together all those strands that you've been mentioning.
And look, I think for UK shipbuilding, look, I think it's a strategic change, and I think the new national shipbuilding strategy came out, and I think this contract award really just fundamentally builds into. I mean, there's a pipeline in that strategy of 150 ships over the next 30 years, and I think with the two incumbents, that would never have happened. So this is really government looking at what does it need to do to enable the national shipbuilding strategy. And I think the whole shipyards, all the yards in the UK, we've now got an opportunity, and we need to come together as an industry and deliver on time and on budget. And I think this whole UK space, look, in my career, I've certainly never seen an industry like it is today, and the vibrancy and the positivity. And I think, you know, that's only the government or quasi-government contracts. There's all the other stuff that's happening outside government. So look, I think when we did the investment case and bought up 52% in the marine fabrication footprint in the UK, a lot of people thought I might have been, taking some laughing gas. But I think now where things have come together and people have seen that 30-year pipeline, they've seen the renewable industry, all of a sudden it's getting looked at in a completely different light. And I certainly think if you were to buy the assets that we acquired now, you certainly wouldn't get them for anywhere near the values that we acquired them for. So I think we acquired the assets at the right time, at the right price. Yes, it's been a lot of hard work and painful experience going through refurnishing them. But now we've got the machine that's ready and raring to go, and putting nicely with the work on Corrie barges and that. It's the first fabrication work on a major scale to be done in the halls here. And I was out walking around this morning looking at it, and look, it's fantastic to see that work taking shape, you know.
My final question for you, John, I couldn't let you go without asking about Island McGee. What's the latest with the gas storage project, Island McGee?
Well, the lights are still on in Northern Ireland for now. You know, how long that'll last, let's see as the colder weather kicks in. Look, I think the gas storage market is incredible. I think the spread was very wide, 39p the other day, which really makes the economics for the project that it's going to happen. It will happen. You know, we've got a lot of interest from the majors, as you would expect in the project. It was up for a judicial review November. The protesters that raised it delayed getting the statements in, so it was delayed till January. But look, we're really excited. We get it done in January. We get that judicial review undertaken. We don't see any issues with it. The legal advice is there is no issue with it. And look, let's face it, the country needs this gas storage project. So I look forward to getting that away next year. Might be able to get a retirement once I get that away. I'll have met all the things I said I was going to do, you know.
Can't imagine seeing you retiring anytime soon, John. John Wood, CEO at Harland Wolff, thank you very much indeed for speaking to London South East today. That was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations on the terrific news. Congratulations to all those who are going to get employment in Belfast and at Appledore. We're very pleased for you. And meanwhile, don't forget to check out your free Harland Wolff company data and chat pages on the London South East website. And to see more news and strategy-related interviews just like this one, Google London South East YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Meanwhile, I hope you all have a very good day.